So we're live.
We're live.
Yeah, we are actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a wonderful Thursday night on the Ignorance is Bliss podcast. I hope you enjoy the sound of my voice as we join here with Randy. Today we are missing a camera, so I'm the only one that's going to be on camera. You know why?
That's right, you're beautiful, dog.
It drives traffic. You know what I'm saying? It's like shock marketing, except it ain't so shocking. It's just kind of arousing. So we're here. It's about 6:41 on Thursday night. And it's just my boy, me, and Randy.
And Jesus is actually joining us on the FaceTime.
Oh, he is. Yo,
We're actually live, bro. I figured it out.
what's good, Jesus?
Yeah, everything's figured out. Huh? Nah, just we got Joey, and that's it. No, we're not using that other camera, so it's just Joey. That's what I'm saying.
What other camera? Can we use the other camera?
How, Sway? There was no HDMI port on there. It's a little. It's the thinner port, not the big port. Yeah. Anyways, we're live, ladies and gentlemen.
Jesus, wait. So have you tried the other camera? Let's try it. We can cut it out.
All right. So the reason why it's not going to work is because it's a thicker port.
Did you hang up on him?
No, I'm not. I had to. That boy's going to keep telling me. But you see that right there? It's a thicker port.
Okay.
It wouldn't fit into the other one because it's not capable of doing so. And we don't have a long extension that would connect it here. That's the reason why I said that. Anyways, welcome to Ignorance is Bliss, guys. It's just going to be Joey on the camera because he's beautiful. So, Joey, thank you for being here. We cannot miss a day of upload. Content is a must. So how's your day going today?
It's pretty good. I haven't cut my nails yet. My nails are pretty long. Look at these things, bro.
Me too, man.
I know. Mine are worse, bro. Look at this.
I need a manscape for sure.
Dude, these things are like female nails, bro. I could be a hand model.
You can claw, bitch.
Yo, hey, Randy, what are we drinking tonight, bro?
Well, we ain't drinking nothing. You drinking.
You're drinking too? What are you talking about?
Don't tell him, man. I'm underage, dog.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Who gives a fuck?
He's drinking that non-alcoholic Johnny Walker.
Exactly.
Well, Randy's going to adjust the cameras. He's there. This is going to be one of those Ignorance is Bliss lives where it's just a little imperfect, you know. Randy hit me up earlier today. He was like, yo, come swing by. Let's do a podcast. So we're going to see where this conversation goes, and hopefully we get some good clips, some good shots. Randy is also underage, and he does not drink alcohol for all the followers listening.
I hit the camera. What do I have to touch for it to come back? Yeah. It's off, yeah. No, I'm saying it's on. What do I have to do for it to come back on? Select? Where's that at?
Like the middle one, like the directional pad, then select. Set. Press set.
Where's the fuck is that at? Oh, I see.
Really, that's all you gotta press. That's all I did because it resets it. It shuts off every 60 minutes and I gotta fucking figure it out how to. I'm pretty sure there's no way to fucking take it off.
Dog, it's not working.
Up every 60 minutes.
It's not working.
No, is it off? Is it off?
It's on.
Like, did it turn off? Did it stop recording?
Yeah, well, it didn't stop recording. It just gave you that black screen.
Yes. Right. Turn it off, turn it back on.
Oh, turn the camera off and back on?
Yes. And then to avoid that, to like reset the timer, you have to press set. Like every 14, 15 minutes, dog. You don't want to select vibrate, dog. Okay.
I see that. Okay, well.
Until we get better camera, until we get better shit.
Okay, well, it's nice to figure this shit out. All right, man. Well, I appreciate
back.
the help. Yeah, we're back.
We're still live.
Yeah, we're still live, and your camera's perfectly working. You're still looking beautiful.
Do I
so
look good?
That's a good thing.
Oh, man.
You look great. So yeah, as he said, a little imperfect. We are looking to perfect our podcast as much as we can. But like I said, we didn't want to miss a day upload. So, we're here, we're live.
We out here, dude.
So, like I was saying, how's your day going?
Day's going good, man. Actually, bro, I'm not going to lie. I got a lot on my mind. Just growing pains, you know what I'm saying?
What's going on?
I don't know, bro. It's just like, I don't know. Sometimes you just get a little mental knot, and then you gotta like untie it a little bit. That's why, like, by the way, for all the viewers, I never, ever, pretty much ever drink whiskey. Like, the only time I'll drink whiskey is if I'm like already drunk and somebody gives me a whiskey shot. But tonight I'm trying out the old Randy Suspettus. No, this isn't the Randy Suspettus. He doesn't drink alcohol at all.
Not at all.
First of all,
No.
okay. But in addition to that, I have whiskey on rocks, and I don't know. I think I kind of like it.
It just it's an acquired taste because I fucking hated it. When I illegally drank, I'm not gonna lie.
No, he's just joking. Randy doesn't actually drink alcohol. He's underage.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink alcohol. Sometimes he likes to pretend he does for the flex, but it's in fact not true.
Yeah,
So.
I don't drink, smoke, or anything.
No,
like that.
he doesn't.
I'm as pure as I can be.
He does do a lot of he does shoot a lot of heroin. I have seen him in the bathroom convulsing and it's weird.
Best times of my life, to be honest.
Bro, like you just walk into the house and you hear like some like really underground obscure Nirvana song playing in the background, like, nothing that ever went mainstream, and you open the door and Randy's sitting there. There's like some tacos next to him, but there's a needle in his arm and a fucking belt around his, like, what is going on here, bro? It's like a mixture of like American grunge and a good old fucking.
Do you know how dark that is, though,
bro?
Like people actually do this shit, man.
They go down the rabbit
So
hole.
think about it. It's like what's I've never looked into it, but like, what's the feeling that you get when you're on fucking heroin? Like, have you ever looked up?
No,
I'm gonna look that shit up right now. Actually.
It's been a long time since my heroin days. I don't even remember, honestly, bro. No, I think it's like if I were to take a guess, I would imagine it's something very numbing and like a warm blanket just like over you. You know what I'm saying? But I can't even imagine what that would feel like because obviously
So here we
I just never listened to that much Nirvana. I've never really done a whole lot of heroin. I could revisit it though.
What does it feel? It's important to understand. Okay, so heroin depresses your central nervous system by turning into morphine in your brain.
Yeah, so it's very numbing, I
It
would
numbs
imagine.
the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
But binding the receptors causes alteration in your feelings, thoughts, and sensations. It is due to effects that many people take. Yeah, so it basically numbs you out, and it's kind of like, actually, yeah, it's just fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do heroin.
Don't do heroin. So, by the way, for all the viewers watching this podcast, I'm about to just freehand this. There's no agenda for the night. So, just because conversations come up on this particular episode of Ignorance is Bliss, we'll definitely chop some stuff up for the sake of like interesting content. Don't do drugs. Don't do illegal things. We don't condone any of it. However, we could definitely have some good conversation about it. So, Randy, what would you say is like the most intense drug you've done? Whether that's like upper or downer, like what's just the craziest drug you've done?
I'd probably say LSD.
LSD. How was that experience for you?
It depends. It depends the mindset that you go into it. Just like shrooms, same thing. Because I feel like they're very spiritual drugs. And it really all depends on the mindset, because a bad trip can really take you down a bad dark rabbit hole, and that's something that you don't want to do. So I don't condone the usage of drugs, but LSD is a fun drug because you trip balls and you see crazy colors.
Yeah, like if you're in a bad mindset and you do LSD, you're not going down a rabbit hole, you're going down a motherfucking snake hole, bro.
Yeah,
Like, it's some vicious shit.
You're the rabbit going down the snake hole,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I couldn't have said it better, bro. Like that would be exactly the way I would put it.
Yeah, so and that's with anything. I feel like what's crazy, and I've never personally tripped with this, but it's what's it called? DMT.
DMT.
Have you ever done DMT?
Yes.
How is it, like? Have you like actually blasted off?
I can say I've done enough to blast off. I don't know what blasting. I don't think I blast off from the way people describe blasting off. Like I didn't go to like another dimension and meet like rabbit fairy aliens. Like that never happened to me. What my experience with DMT was just like, it kind of just felt like over spiritualized like crack. Honestly, like bro, you smoke that, dude, and you're just like, That's literally, bro. Dude, okay, so honest, that is what it feels like. But it's like the feeling of LSD mixed with like a feeling of like ecstasy. With yeah, it's dude. I honestly, I never did DMT and like came out of it like, wow, my life makes a whole lot more sense. I did DMT. So one time I was in one of okay, we'll scratch that. One time I was in a apartment, and the apartment was dark and wasn't particularly clean. It wasn't grimy. It was just like disorganized. So it was whatever.
Like my room is right now.
Yeah, probably like your room right now. In fact, it was your room.
It probably was.
It was this room.
My
4
room might
years
be
ago.
worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I hit a DMT pen, and maybe it was because it was a pen, but I cried. I was so happy, and I fell in love with. I was like, I love all you guys around me so much. Life is so beautiful. I love all you guys so much.
You ever gone into ego death?
Yeah. Probably not on DMT, maybe on LSD,
Yeah.
But in life too. Like, you know what's funny? I was actually just having this conversation with Sarah a little earlier today, and it was somebody else whose name we maybe mention later, was talking about DMT and ego death and all that shit. Why do you ask?
Well, because I personally went through it, and it's probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
What does that describe? That
So I instantly knew a bunch of things that were wrong with my life, that I was preventing. My ego itself was preventing from seeing. And so that's why I like psychedelics. I try to take something meaningful from the trip every single time, aside from just, the visuals and stuff. That stuff's fun. But I remember the first time, or I think it was like the first or second time that I tripped, it was on shrooms. And it was a magical experience. And the reason why I say that is because, like I said, I was able to find some shit about myself that, I was normally looking past. And it actually created a bigger bond with me and my family, because I realized that I was basically like the people who have given me life. I wasn't being fair, kind, and I was almost like being just like that bratty teenager. And so that made a big difference. Like, I feel like the relationship, because the relationship that me and my parents have right now is because of that trip. Like, I started bawling out, crying. I was like, holy fuck, I am
while you were with your parents?
No.
This is when you were having a realization.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, dude, I felt like an asshole, like a straight asshole.
That's interesting, yeah. What did you realize that made you basically? It sounds like kind of you realized you weren't like, damn, like these people are pretty fucking incredible, and I'm not appreciating them to the fullest extent.
I realized how selfish I was, not only with my parents but just all around life. Like, it's kind of is in a sense still. I'm still selfish in a sense, and I feel like everybody should be. Just for like their personal development. But I was selfish in the way that I was just like, fuck you, man.
What do you think about? What do you think about people who like preach and swear by the idea that psychedelics and drug XYZ is productive and effective for treating depression? Like, what is your perspective and opinion
and I think
on
that's
that kind of
MDMA.
thing?
I think that's what it is.
I've heard ketamine too.
Yeah, that and MDMA. I've heard great results, especially for people who have like PTSD and stuff like that. I personally never looked too much into it. I would imagine it'd help. Just because I've had like certain realizations like that in a lot of my trips. So I would certainly believe so. But then again, I'm no fucking scientist.
Yeah, yeah. So you definitely feel like it brings out subtleties in your subconscious and makes you more consciously aware of. I think
so. Yeah. Absolutely. Aside from like the whole hallucinating shit in front of you, but. Yeah, I think. It depends on the person. I want to say that.
Let me ask you a question. So, because it sounds like you're open-minded to the idea of like psychedelics being a productive, with balance. So yes. I'm gonna float. So I'm gonna ask my question because I you know where I'm going with this. So, let's just say you had depression, chronic depression, not anything crazy, but like something that just gets in the way. would you be like, you know what? I'm probably not gonna like take depression medication, but I'm down to do some MDMA every now and then.
I would never take depression medication.
Okay.
I
So would you alternative
I would
it
definitely
with psychedelics?
anything natural that would be that I would
so
be
it'd be
able
shrooms
to.
mostly.
Yeah, shrooms. I mean, I would take like MDMA like if it was something like really serious like that, where you know if I had depression, because I don't know anybody that likes to be depressed. And if that's something that would certainly help, I would love to do so. But I like to stay away from medicine. The pharmaceutical industry is just like it's fucked. So
That's valid.
I like to stay away from that shit as much as possible.
Yeah.
So like when I get a cold, like I really don't fucking drink medicine. Like I just stuff that shit out, and it usually goes away in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. The devil's avocados. Quite frankly, honestly, dude, like, cause I've done my fair share of psychedelics. I would say I probably like won't intentionally ever do psychedelics again. To be honest with you, do you feel like you would trip again? Yeah, you would.
I would definitely.
For sure.
It's. I mean, it depends. It really just depends on the person. Because you know, like we were saying in the beginning, I think it's definitely like a mindset thing. So like people who are just not ready to trip, or you know have a fucked up mindset.
Let me ask you this. I was a part of I was not a part of the conversation, nor did I really care to be. I thought it was a silly conversation, but there was a conversation going on the other day where one individual, let's just call him Josh. Shout out Josh Miller Mindset. Where fuck, we might have to cut that. I might not put that in the clip I post on Instagram, but it'll be in the video.
That's fine. Just do your thing.
Yeah. Where the conversation was around the idea of like, okay, yo, when I do DMT, like I experience God. How do you feel about that?
That's a little bit far-fetched.
Why?
What is God? We don't know what that entity is. We've never personally felt it, and like
let's just for sake of conversation, let's just call it universal oneness, if you will.
Okay, yeah. I mean, can you say that you would come out more spiritual and more connected to whatever you believe in because of the experience that you have? We can say that. But can you claim that you touched and spoke and saw God? I don't personally think
so.
You can claim
let me ask you this. Let's just say you have like for the sake of conversation, a divine realization on shrooms. Would you say that divine realization is more or less valid than a divine realization or divine epiphany that you would have on LSD, given that LSD is obviously synthesized?
I don't know. I don't think it would make a fucking difference to me, man. As long as I had the realization, it doesn't matter if I'm sober on LSD, shrooms, or DMT. As long as that realization is valid and it's truthful to what I believe and what's actually going on within my fucking reality. Because you know, a lot of people who take any sort of psychedelics, their reality kind of becomes warped. Some people even lose all consciousness of what reality is. Yeah. But if we're talking about within a spectrum where, you know, I'm conscious and, you know, I'm gone, but I'm sober enough to realize that my thought is, you know, is indeed a fact, then I would say that it doesn't matter what you're on, even if you're sober.
Do you think that's a healthy way to look at it?
Yeah, honestly, to be honest. As long as you are growing yourself and, you know, you're becoming more self-aware, whether that's on DMT or any sort of...
So the reason I ask is because
I have hardcore drugs. I don't fuck with that.
Well, except for crack.
Yeah.
It's vegan. It's gluten-free. I mean, like, the fuck? It's 2020, dog. Like, you're not smoking
Everybody
crack.
is a fucking porn star, dog.
Again, one more time. Just to reiterate, don't do drugs, please. You're not condoning drugs. I personally don't believe in the usage. Whatever, that doesn't matter. Just don't do drugs.
I just wanted
to put that in.
Like I said at the beginning of the video, I personally haven't done drugs.
Do you even consider psychedelics a drug?
Absolutely. Anything that
mind altering.
Yeah, anything that messes with your neurotransmitters in your brain, which is, you know, what causes any sort of effect. As far as drug goes, because alcohol, it technically messes with your neurotransmitters. It's technically a drug. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got addictive properties too. Because, like, here's the thing: is like, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people like who really swear by the idea of like psychedelics being a tool or a resource to gain greater knowledge, if you will, or become more understanding of the knowledge you maybe already have and just aren't completely cognizant of. And I've watched people have this conversation with other individuals who maybe are more or less educated than them, and it turns into this thing where it's like this kind of like trippy hippie kid and being like, yo, like psychedelics, man, like you really like experience like the truth behind this. Like when I did it, I really felt like I was connected to something greater, like I was with infinite intelligence himself. And then you have this person sitting next to him who's listening and maybe, like I said, is more or less educated, and they're like, wow, this dude might be onto something. Do you think that's kind of weird? I think that's kind of weird. I think it's kind of lame as fuck, honestly.
I think that takes it a little bit too far. So what I can say about that is, can you say that you can have some realizations when you're on psychedelics?
I would agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Would I promote it as this ultimate, at all time self-awareness
Like, this is
creating?
it.
No, it's not, because everybody would be fucking taking it, right? And so that's just not a fucking fact.
Imagine the world on LSD.
It'd be a fucking crazy world. Oh. Well, I mean, so think about it like this, because back, I don't remember when LSD like was first introduced by the government when they were doing tests. The American government was doing tests. People were going fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they were basically, giving LSD to people who didn't know what the fuck LSD was or what it was going to be or what experience it. And that was fucking crazy because people were like fucking seeing fire, the fucking devil himself, jumping off buildings because they didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Can you imagine?
I don't want to imagine, dude. It was scary. It was fucking scary. And so the government was basically doing this for like fucking years. And then Clinton just came out and said, yeah, I'm sorry. We were just fucking drugging people.
Yeah. We've been making Jimi Hendrix out of all of you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna step out on a ledge here, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna personally say that I think that any realization that you can have through psychedelics, you can probably more effectively and more intuitively. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but I'd say that any realization you can have on psychedelics, you can definitely have in
sober.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. And so I would say that that's where I stand. So like ego check, for example, like ego death, right? Like ego death is a real thing. It's like, it's kind of like to a certain degree, like to die of ego is actually like a paradigm shifting, like, the camera off. Yeah, I would say that having ego death is a very normal part of life and a very real part of life. I feel like any religious text or philosophical or psychological text that's ever been written like covers that concept. But I think that all that can probably be done way more effectively without the use of psychedelics. In fact, I think for people to mislead themselves and to try and convince others that psychedelics maybe is a key or some kind of like tool or resource to that may be valid. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything, but I can say that I probably never have to do psychedelics again, and I'm probably totally cool with that. Mm-hmm. And because like ego death happens in life. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. I've had that sort of experience while tripping, but this past summer, I feel like life is really the biggest trip, because this past summer I had an experience where my self-worth was measured on X, Y, and Z, okay? And X, Y, and Z had nothing to do with me as a person. It just had to do with materialistic concepts, X, Y, and Z. So whether that's validation, money, whatever.
Ooh, that usually goes bad real quick.
Exactly. Why do you think that is?
Well, because why the fuck would you attach yourself to all those things?
To something external, yeah, right? So there was a moment, and this isn't very recent. This is within the last several months. There was a moment in my life where I didn't have those things anymore. And because I didn't have those things, my ego died.
Ooh.
And that for me, like ego death for me was this like everything that I based my like who I am off of was now not there anymore. And I was left with this shell of an idea of like who I thought I was, but I hated myself and I felt like a bum and a loser. And And that was an ego death for me because, like, I realized at that moment within the last several months that, fuck, I actually really guess I have to relearn how to love myself a little bit, dude. That's an ego death, bro. Like, fuck, I was like, damn, I'm not hot shit like I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm struggling a little bit over here. And I remember crying, but I bounced back within an hour and did what I needed to do with life and came out victorious that day. But like that, I didn't need psychedelics for that. You know what I'm saying? That was a very, very real ego death that I feel like a lot of people probably experience through psychedelics. If you had an experience in the sober, let's like drift away from psychedelics a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you had an experience like that?
Yeah. So to end the conversation on psychedelics and what it could possibly do for you spiritually, what I will say, it was kind of like a trigger for me. You remember how, like I said, the first time that happened, I was like, holy fuck, I came to the realization, and that was kind of like the trigger for me to know my self-worth and be more self-aware. So at that point, I didn't need psychedelics anymore to go to ego death, right? To realize what the fuck was wrong with me. And I imagined that even if I didn't take psychedelics, I was going to get to that point in life where you basically met it and you crashed. Like that shit, I'm pretty sure that same shit was going to hit me in life, because life hits, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen to a bunch of people who are hopefully ever watching this.
Yeah.
It's just, it's that moment in life that they will hit.
So what moments have you had in life that have hit? Like, what have been some very impactful moments that just kind of made you reevaluate ego or like who you thought you were? I try and have an ego death like every day.
Yeah, honestly. And this is basically what I kind of, this is what I told my manager at work. I was like, I'm just trying to understand myself as much as I can, and I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday. So that automatically causes ego death, I feel like, because you understand that you're not all hot shit and that you have to improve, right, on a daily basis. If not, you're stagnant. And if you're stagnant, you're dying. You're really fucking dying. You're no longer living at that point. And that's scary, right? Because when I'm 80, and if by 80 they don't have fucking cyborgs created, I'm about to be on my deathbed. I'm about to be regretting all this shit, and I'm not trying to regret shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get when what's his name, when Nick was here, and he was talking about Gary Vee, because Gary Vee is one of my sources of motivation as far as what he teaches and how basically he perceives life.
Yeah, insight.
It's very interesting because a lot of people are opinion driven. They're
subjective.
Yeah, they're very subjective. Emotional. They're driven by materialistic things. And I feel like that kind of takes away from your self-awareness a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not connected with yourself, which is the most important thing. You need to be happy with what you are and what you're striving to be.
Are you happy?
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to be as happy as I can on a daily basis. I mean, life fucking smacks.
Yeah,
every day.
smacks.
Like literally, life will smack every day.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching this video from Grant Cardone, and he's talking about eating shit, right?
Do you eat shit
every day?
You eat caca?
I eat caca every day.
Dude, you know what I've been doing to stop drinking Coca-Cola?
You still drink soda, you savage?
Well, no, not anymore. So whenever I'm like pouring a glass of Coca-Cola, when I put because obviously, by the way, we don't condemn the drinking of Coca-Cola. By the way, if you're drinking Coca-Cola, fucking quit it, bro. Like, don't sue us.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, like what I do is I pour the glass of Coke, I put some ice in it. Well, I put some ice in it, then pour the glass of Coke because I'm not a fucked up individual, right? I mean, that's what's wrong with America. If you're pouring your Coke first and then putting ice in from the fucking dispenser of the ice, what the fuck's wrong with you? But yeah, I pour a glass of Coke.
It's like putting milk and then the cereal. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, exactly. So I'll put the ice in, fill it up with Coke, and immediately after I just put dog shit on top, so that way I don't drink the Coke.
That's pretty good. That's pretty smart. I think people should start doing that so they take away all that fucking shit. Dude, it's like if you measure because I think it's about like on average 39 grams of sugar per can of Coke. And that's cap, crazy. That's like this amount of sugar.
Yeah, imagine 30. So for the people, like, if you can't imagine what 39 grams of sugar is, imagine 39 grams of weed.
Oh my God, yes.
Packed into one can of Coca-Cola.
I was just thinking that.
That's how much sugar is in your Coke. 39 grams of weed.
Yeah,
I smoked a 39-gram weed blunt one time.
that's crazy.
That's false. That's false. It's fake news. It didn't happen.
You're hilarious.
Let's
man,
just
Joey.
let's just. Oh, Poppy's calling.
Yes, Pops. He doesn't know I'm doing a podcast right now.
He doesn't know I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, but to kind of like segue into the next conversation. Yeah, no, man. Honestly, like, bro, I had some crazy experiences on psychedelics, bro. I literally, like, I kid you not. I've controlled people's minds on psychedelics.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I was what I was saying about the video with Grant Cardone about eating shit, and I think people really should listen to this because I think it's very important. He said that you will eat shit every day. The way that he explained it is how much shit are you eating and what quantity, right? Are you basically having other people eat shit because of you, and will you help others not eat shit?
Huh.
So it's an interesting.
So what
idea.
if you are eating shit, but people aren't eating shit because of you, and you're helping other people not eat shit?
Well,
Is that good?
no, it's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. You need to be able to figure out how to not eat shit or as much shit.
You got to figure out how the fuck to not take shit out of the freezer, and you got to take a fucking filet mignon.
Yeah, you got to be able to. Honestly, and this is very true. You have to learn how to be selfish in life. People like you have to learn how to be selfish and selfless. Because I feel like there is a balance. Before you can help others, you got to help yourself. And that's fucking real, dude. Because
it's kind of like you can't love somebody until you love yourself.
Yeah, you gotta understand that before you do anything for anybody, you gotta do it for yourself. It's like people who fucking teach shit that they don't know what they're talking about just because they've heard it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where do you get your information from?
Exactly. Who do you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's that kind of thing.
It's the idea of like I feel like one of the most profound but simple things I've learned in life was just understanding you don't know what you don't know and be willing to admit that you in fact are not all knowing. Because I feel like there was a point in my life where I thought I knew everything, and because of that, it prevented me from actually learning anything at all. But that I experienced, like I said, like I think ego death happens pretty often. I experienced multiple ego deaths, and I remember one of the first ones was just accepting the fact that I in fact I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. And that for me was like a big mind opener, because when you realize, when you accept that you don't know what you don't know, now your mind is open to beginning to receive information that you otherwise haven't known already.
Yeah, now you're teachable.
Exactly.
Teachability
What
index.
you know about that teachability index?
The-
Dark secrets of the Illuminati.
What's Kevin? KT?
KT. Kevin Trudeau. If you guys don't listen to Kevin Trudeau, casually listen to Kevin Trudeau.
Yeah, casually sounds
yeah.
sounds like a good suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like casually drink whiskey. You don't fucking take the whole thing at once. You
No,
might
you
get
do
a little
not.
drunk after. You might be in a weird spot.
Yeah, you
Hey,
definitely don't wanna do
Randy,
it.
I need you to come over here. I need you to take the spotlight for a second. I gotta go pee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll
Let's
just
switch
keep
spots.
talking.
No. You gotta be in the camera. We can't just have nobody sitting here.
Okay. All right,
Let's get spicy, bro. Like, we're free-handing the podcast. Nothing.
slide
We
over
can't.
there.
We
I'll
can't
slide
really
over
fuck
real
this
quick.
one up. It's already fucked up from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? But I do gotta pee.
All
I'm
right,
not gonna
go
lie.
pee. Go
But
pee.
come switch. I'm not
Well,
gonna.
I just need to make sure that this video is up.
Is it up?
It's up.
Okay. Guys, I'll be right back. I needed to give Randy some spotlight, so I'm just gonna pretend like I have to go pee. Shall return shortly.
I'm gonna have to disclose a lot of things because apparently this audience is gonna believe everything that I've said.
take the spotlight, come back, and I'll take this chair for a little bit. Maybe we switch again. You know?
All right, that works. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys are having a wonderful night. Everything that has been said on this podcast about drugs is strictly for comedy. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So, yeah, that's the case. Oh, man. Sitting here by myself is a little bit crazy. Huh. I feel kind of empty. Joey, I need you. No, but guys, what I was talking about, eating shit. I think it's very important to understand that we all eat shit on a daily basis. And like I said, it's what the amount is, and afterwards, what will you do, right? Because a lot of people like to stick with their problems and kind of just wonder and blame people and feel like shit. And feeling like shit is fine. But understanding that there is a point where you have to get up and basically just go all at it is very important, because I mean, you will just fall, and you will fall deep, and you will keep eating shit. Just understand that you are what you attract, and your thoughts are what you will attract. So as long as you stay in that mindset of eating shit, that's all that's going to happen. It's nothing but negativity as far as what's going to come along. So it's all about perspective and focus. Where focus goes, energy flows, right? So if you're constantly in a negative mindset, have negative thoughts, that's all that you're gonna attract. I was schooling people, man. I was still talking about eating shit.
School me, bro.
No, but I was. So what I was saying, I was talking about, this, if you're ever like in a shitty situation, understanding what happened.
No, keep going.
So all you have to do is press. If you go to the back, just press set real quick. It's gonna be on the D-pad.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, whatever. Should be good anyways.
I was just gonna fix the angle. I'm back. What's up, guys? What were you talking about?
Well, I was talking about a moment of eating shit and knowing how to recover and how to kind of like switch the mindset. Because, like you said, you had that ego death moment where, after an hour you're back in your game, right? And people, we're different. I like to say that we're a different breed. We kind of have like a different mindset.
Everybody's different, or are you saying me and you?
You and I are different.
Yeah.
As far as, because at some level we're kind of in sync. We're different, but we kind of somewhat share some of the same beliefs, and that's just because of the people that we listen to.
Yeah, we have different tastes,
Right.
but we share similar core values and
ideologies and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, kind of like you said, you got out of that. You got out of that phase like right away. Unfortunately, what most of society I feel like has been built up to is to kind of like stick to the situation that they're in. And what I mean by that is like the feeling, right? Because the feeling is what derives everything around you. Where focus goes, energy flows. And so if you're in a shitty situation in life, you're eating shit, just understand that at that point you have to figure out how can you fix that, right? Because if not, then you're just going to be on that same mindset and you're going to be in the same mood. And guess what's going to happen? Nothing but more shit's going to keep coming along. So I was just kind of, just giving some advice out to people, because I definitely, have gone through some shit. Like when my pops, and this is something that wasn't in my control. Like my pops had a tumor in the middle of his head, right? In his pituitary gland. He's practically fucking blind. Yeah.
Wow.
And when he was under surgery, I mean, I was working that day, and it was awful. Like I was fucking crying. Like I thought I was gonna lose pops, because when you go in surgery, you're like, the doctor even told him.
Happen, yeah.
The doctor even told him, he's like, hey, listen, man, there's a chance that you might not come alive out this bitch. And he said that shit right in front of me.
Wow.
Which is the scary part. But I mean, of course, I already
crazy.
knew. So yeah, I mean, it's moments like that really make you appreciate life. So for people whose parents are still alive, really treasure your fucking parents, man, because they're not gonna be along forever. So
yeah, that is true. I always kind of like, it's weird. It's there's a French word for it. I can't remember what it is. I'll look it up, I guess, while we're talking. But so there's an actual thing where when you stare down the abyss, if you will, like for example, like when you're walking along the street and you just imagine yourself like jumping in front of a car. You're like staring down the abyss, and sometimes there's a French word for that. I can't remember, but I've definitely like imagined what I would feel like if one of my parents was passing. I am fortunate enough to, I wouldn't say fortunate, because it is a circle of life. Like, I don't think that would feel unfortunate if that happened, but definitely never had that experience that. But damn, dude, if I lost one of my parents, I'd be pretty fucking sad. I'm not gonna lie.
It'd be devastating. It really would.
That made me choke up a little bit. Bro.
Yeah, it's 'cause, I mean, and now that I look at, because back then, that's prior when I kind of like had a sort of semi shitty relationship with my parents.
Ooh.
So like I would have really, like, now in the mindset that I'm at, if I would have lost my dad then, and oh man, I would have been devastated. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. But yeah, just to learn to appreciate your parents. They will not always know best.
That's true. Our parents are just as human as we are. Like, at the end of the day, we're all learning and growing. Our parents, as much as they play the role of having everything figured out, like, at the end of the day, they're human too. Like, they're still having to have, learning and growing experiences as time goes by too. So I definitely can agree with that for sure.
100%. I mean, my parents especially my dad, because me and my dad are basically like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically my friend. And he's given me great advice. But he's also given me a shit ton of shitty advice because he's not updated. You know what I'm saying? He's not within the times. He's a very smart individual. He has like 2 fucking degrees. So like the guy is smart. Like he's intelligent, but he's just not updated. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not within the new age. And so that's where I feel like most of our parents kind of like lack.
Yeah, I would say to a certain degree. I don't know if it's necessarily lack, because like I have friends who have parents who are very well off.
Right.
I also have friends whose parents are like complete fuck ups. From what I'm gathering from you, it doesn't sound like your parents are fuck ups.
No, my parents aren't
like
fuck ups. It's just that they're traditional.
They're
right?
traditional. Yeah, my parents are the same way.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so when you're traditional, that's all you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe in the
But
saying.
would you say that despite them being traditional, because my parents are like, they still my mom still tries to get me to go to college.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. But would you say your parents have been pretty insightful? Like, because like you go to your parents for certain pieces of advice, right?
Yeah.
And you would say they're pretty insightful.
My pops mostly.
Hell
I'm not taking anything away from my mom.
What really good advice for sure? And we'll talk about mom in a second too, because my mom is amazing, right? But what good advice would you say that you've gotten from pops?
He put it like this, and this is a saying: not everything that shines is gold.
Ooh, that's so good.
That is good. And I think a lot of people need to understand that, because people get overhyped. And it's fine to be hyped, right? Because I feel like that's kind of like what drives you as far as you for your goals and stuff like that. But you need to understand that everything that shines is not fucking gold.
Yeah. So what does he mean by that? What or like when he explained it to you?
Kind of like it. So basically,
give me an example.
Like when we were talking about risk management, right? Understanding and actually analyzing a situation. That's basically what it was. Taking in the factors. How much is this going to actually benefit
hey, it
you?
sounds good.
It sounds great, but I mean, what's coming afterwards, right? How is this actually going to benefit you? And so that was a great piece of advice, and it was kind of like reinforced when you were talking about it. So it's pretty neat. I don't get much advice from my dad.
But you do go to him for advice sometimes.
Yeah. And it's always for the most part it's always great. It really is. It really is. Just because he's
I would
wise.
love to meet your dad, bro.
He's cool. That man's almost bald.
Yeah, but what were you saying? You said it's not always great, but and then I cut you off.
Yeah,
and said I would
it's
like to
just
meet you.
not always great. I mean, because of the traditional values.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And
different values, maybe not traditional, but different.
Yeah, just different values, just different way of looking at things. But yeah, that's really the only thing that kind of separates the advice that he gives from my intake. Just because we're on similar thought levels, but obviously not the same thought levels.
Yeah.
At the same
So
time.
like when my dad, and I think a good example of that would be, my dad always told me to go to college. Like, oh, excuse me, bro.
God bless.
Oh, God, what was that?
Should we need today, son?
Oh God. All right. Yeah. So my dad would always every time I'm like, yo, like, give me some advice. Like, what should I do? Like, it's like, well, Joey, you know what I'm gonna say. Like, you should definitely go back and go to school. Then the conversation, then I have to like, so like, what makes you say traditional? Like, let's go down this a little bit. I have the time segment marked, so I think we could get some good chops from here. But what about the advice he gives you? Why do you describe it as traditional? What's traditional about it?
Well, I mean, the reason why I say
Or his
it's
mindset.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say it's traditional, like I say, it's not updated, and sometimes it's just not efficient. Right? There are faster ways of going about things. And so that's really just what I mean by that. Not much else. Like I said, most of the advice that he gives me is fucking great.
Pretty on point,
It's
yeah.
just like the small pieces that I just personally don't believe. Like school, that's a slow burn, right?
It is a slow burn.
It's a slow burn, and the risk to reward, not that great.
For what you want, maybe, out of life.
Depending on what you want, right? So, like, I was talking to Jesus about this. Like, I think school is for some people.
Mm-hmm.
I think school is not for some people. I think some educational fields are definitely worth it as far as pay goes, but they're typically take extremely fucking long, like going to school for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I understand why those people get paid a shit ton. I mean, they're literally dealing with the health of the human race, right? So that's a very important fucking job, right? But yeah, they're traditional in certain senses, but for the most part, very open-minded.
Yeah. My dad also talks a lot about like, so he always says life is a marathon, not a sprint, and I think that ties in so well with the concept of not everything that shines is gold, because obviously there's the shiny object syndrome where it's like, oh my god, this is what I'm gonna do, like this is gonna be amazing in every way possible, and then you look at the processes that go into it, the systems that go into it, the risk to reward, like you were talking about, that goes into it. And I told my dad I was gonna be a millionaire by 25, and I'm 22, so time's ticking. I got some work to do, but like, he would always talk about the same thing. It's like, just because you found something on Instagram or something like that doesn't mean that, like, just because you found somebody on Instagram who's driving a BMW, who's got the Rolly, the Gucci shoes.
And sometimes that shit's all fucking fake, dude. It's all bluff. It's all fluff.
Completely fake. Or it might even be real, but their situation's completely fake.
Basically, there you go.
I had a friend over summer. His name is Thad. He's a cool guy. Shout out Thad. Love you, bro. If there was a camera right here, I'd point at it, but there's not because we only got one camera tonight. But he talked about his one friend who played that figure on Instagram, wore his Gucci shoes to the club, his Louis Vuitton belt, his fucking whatever the fuck, or another Versace shirt. And then where he came home to, this is where he came home to. So he came home to a house that 10 other people were living in. He lived on an air mattress in a room with 3 other people. And the guy who was renting it was basically an Asian landlord. And he came and he'd take his Gucci shoes off, his Louis Vuitton belt off, his Versace shirt. And he got in a good old-fashioned Coleman air mattress at night. Deceptive.
But see, that's crazy because that actually happens a lot. And I think that's capitalized a lot more depending on where you currently stay, especially here in the U.S. Like Miami, that shit happens all the fucking time. Like, people are driving great cars. I'm talking about like top of the line Beamers, like brand new Mercedes, and they're like living to pay this shit off.
Is that winning?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. That's not winning. I see winning as you being in a position to take more. Not to
P&L.
Not to fucking get less. That just makes no fucking sense. That's not what winning sounds like to me.
Yeah.
At least me,
Yeah, it's like people think winning is the image when winning is in fact it's actually profit versus loss. It's like, what's your profit? How much are you up year over year? And then also, how much are you spending, and what's your profit from your spending, if you will?
Yeah, and then winning can also, besides monetary, winning can also be mental, because technically those people are also setting themselves in a losing position, not only financially, but mentally as well, because what they're doing is they're creating this self-image. Because I feel it. Okay, I personally done it. I made a fucking stupid decision. There's an Audi parked outside.
That is a stupid decision.
It's a stupid decision. Okay, and I can realize that.
I love that you brought that up.
There's an 18 Audi sitting outside my driveway, and I'm paying $500,000 for that bitch a month for no fucking reason. Sheesh. Right? And guess what? I feel great when I'm in it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And it's not like I can't afford the Audi. Like, I wouldn't have gotten the car if I knew that I couldn't afford it. But like, it's fucking pointless, dude. It's just like a car, just like every other fucking Toyota or Honda or whatever the fuck car.
How much is your Audi?
I think it's about like $38,000 or something like that.
$38,000,
which is not a lot.
Do you make $38,000 a year?
I make more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much you make?
I mean, it just depends.
We can chop this out, obviously.
It depends. I mean, I'm this year with Brightway, I'm shooting. We'll cut that out too.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, with the company that I'm currently working for, my goal is to be shooting around for like 76K, because it's just the way that we're set up, we're very limited to what we can do. And this is something that I was.
So check this out. Check this out. Credit is based off debt to income ratio. So right now your debt to income is a little bit more over 50%.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking shitty.
That was a horrible financial
decision. Awful decision.
Oh,
and
bro.
I can admit that, dude. And I
Yeah.
can admit that.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, but back to what I was saying is, losing mentally, because technically you're creating this image of yourself with the clothing that you're wearing just to make other people see that image. And you're really believing that shit in your head because you're buying into it. You're buying yourself into it. At the end of the day, once that shit, if that shit's all taken away from you, kind of like what happened to you, now you're in the state of mind of like, fuck, what happened?
What am I?
I thought I was this
I thought
shit.
I was, yeah.
I thought I was this. I thought I was a baller. But at the end of the day, it was just a fake image that you created and you believed.
Mm-hmm.
And that you try to make other people believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it. I see past your shit.
Yeah, it's like trying to be valuable versus adding value to the world. Like I tried so hard to be valuable by image and charisma or whatever, social status, and but in fact, was I really adding that much value to the world?
Probably fucking not.
Probably not. And that's why it fucking wrecked me, honestly. That's why I was like, literally cried, bro. It was so fucking sad. I was like, oh my God.
It's wrecking the people that's taking a look at it too, because they now believe that this shit is
fucking misled, right?
It's fucking awful and
horrible. Dude, I see so many people were like, so many people buy into these like Instagram influencers and they just have this false perception of what it means to actually win at life.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It really is.
Like life ain't that easy, bro.
And the reason why I say that,
ain't easy.
The reason
dog.
why I say it's fucked up, and this is something I say a lot in the podcast. I personally believe that time is the most valuable thing besides health, because that's the only thing that's keeping you fucking alive.
Time's ticking, bro.
Yeah, time is the most valuable thing that you have besides your breath that you're taking on a second to second basis, because come on. Maybe you have, on average, if you're a guy, 76 to 80 years if shit continues down the path that we're on, where it's just like stagnant, right? That's not a lot. Dude, that shit's not a fucking lot. Okay, I'm 20. If that's the case, I'm 1/4 in that bitch. I'm 25%. I got 75%. That's not a lot of time.
That's true. Speaking of time, we're at 52 minutes, which is cool. I could do this all night.
Yeah.
So,
I talk a lot, so.
Yeah, I love making content, especially like this. I'm chilling right now.
Just let me know, dog.
I'd rather hang out and do shit like this than hang out and just like sit at a party or whatever. Dude,
I was gonna work, dude.
Can I
I'm
bring
gonna work
this
after this?
Can we like, so for the next X amount of time, there's 53 minutes right now that we're at. Is there a way I can move this mic over here? We can both be on camera and we'll shoot some heavy topics. How can
I don't know that.
Is it
I would
not
have
the camera, not the camera, the mic?
Well, that's the thing. I would have to move the camera back so we can both be in the shot.
It says press button to activate movie shooting.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah,
Dude. No. You don't understand. Jesus does this. Not I, sir.
Let's see.
What are you trying to do?
It said the camera footage cut out.
Oh, so what you got to do is you got to turn it on and turn it back off. It's on the right hand side of it. It's like a little notch.
Right here?
Yeah. So turn it back and then turn it forward. There you go. Ooh. Now you want to look here and see if it's up on OBS. This is OBS. Obviously, that's going to show for a period of time, but it's going to come back. Yeah, it's up. If it's up there, that means it's up on YouTube.
And then how do I? Okay, cool. Okay. I was gonna see if I can move the mic, but I might not do that.
We're already an hour in. If anything, dude, I'm for anybody who's listening or who will be listening, we're really focusing on getting this fucking mic situation fixed.
Yeah, where are we going with this podcast?
I don't know. We could probably outro in like the next 5 to 10 minutes.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
This podcast is fine. I'm saying with ignorance is bliss. Where are we going with this?
So that's something that because I've been, like you're saying from the last podcast, I really, because I envisioned this, right? I envisioned what this would be, all this whole setup, right? But now I'm asking myself, what's next?
Yeah, you hit the goal.
What's my next vision?
What's the next goal? Yeah.
Right? And so that's, I feel like that's something people should be asking themselves, on when they achieve a goal, or on maybe even a daily basis. What's next, right? So I'm thinking about this is like, what's fucking next, right? Because when we talk, you're like, okay, we can definitely make this possible. I mean, we can make this shit blow up, which I believe it, right? It's like, it's in my fucking head. I believe that. And so now because I invited my friend Ortiz and Gianna over, because I want to see all my friends win. Just like you love seeing your friends win, I also love seeing my friends win. And I just kind of want to sit down and write shit out and really put massive amounts of thought process behind what my next year and my next decade will be, right? Because, I mean, I've been saying, I think 2020 hit different. I think this is going to be a fucking great year. I think it's going to be a year of massive growth. Excuse me, not only mentally, but financially. And, I know that shit's going to be fucking hard though, right? So I need to sit down and like really like plan what it's going to be, or what I like it to be, and how I'm going to go about it. So,
yeah, I'd say you did a pretty good job of it. So check this out. There's a little vanity metric. Our most viewed video has 107 views on Instagram. Ignorance is Bliss Live on Instagram has 66 followers. So we have almost 2 times the amount of views per video that we even have followers of our Instagram page. Our second most viewed video has 95 views, which is still more. So I'd say we're going a pretty good direction with this. You said so since we're on here, I guess you can kind of almost. Honestly, whenever I get on a podcast, I feel like I'm just having a normal conversation.
this is what this is, dude.
Yeah, and
that's all it is.
And I kind of just like the sound of my voice playing through the microphone and on my headset. Sexual, bro.
Yeah, y'all didn't see that face, but I did. That's the face I make after. Never mind.
So what is it? So now that you've said it already, I heard you say it on the YouTube podcast, which I thought was dope. Thought that was like a really good clip to put on YouTube, by the way. So like whoever's chopping that up, good job. But what is that? Now that you've had some time to think about it, what is the goal? I mean, this is actually a conversation I was gonna have with you anyway. So let's have a conversation.
I mean, I feel like
what does that look like? What do you want to accomplish?
We've stated it before. And we've said, hey, listen, this podcast is a tool for, personally my happiness, because I enjoy my time here. I enjoy my time sitting, talking to people, picking people's brains, having, intellectual, funny conversations. I love that. And this is why I can see myself doing this shit on a daily basis. Like, I don't have a problem with me coming in here every day, maybe sitting for an hour or 2, 3, 4 hours fucking talking, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, besides all the selfish reasons as to why I want to do a podcast, I also want to deliver as much knowledge from me and from my guest, right? And if we can blow this up to proportions where we can,
what does that mean?
Where we can have a massive audience, big audience.
Yeah, but like, where do you want to take the podcast? Like, let's just say it happens. Let's say we have 100,000 subscribers. What does that look like for you? What does the lifestyle look like? What is the mood? Because like really, essentially, if there's any momentum gained, there's this sort of movement, if you will, because there's a movement of people that are watching. What do you want that to look like? What kind of value do you want that to bring to not only our lives, but like pretty much the lives of, like, what does that look like?
Well, I mean, and honestly,
like it's a very broad question.
It is a very broad
but that's why
question.
I'm asking it.
Yeah,
because you're yet to basically put that into a
Right.
solid concrete
And that's what
idea.
I want to
And
do.
that's what you're developing.
Right. That's
right,
what I
in your
want to
mind.
develop. I mean, I already have all my thoughts as far as what I want the podcast to be, the core values of it. Right. It's entertainment and education all packed together. And where I got this from was from my what was it? 11th? What's going on?
Do you have pen and paper
Pen and paper.
in your room?
It's in the garage.
Okay. Continue.
But yeah, where I had this actual idea, or not idea, but core values in a sense, was from my 11th grade history teacher. I'm not gonna say his name just for the sake of not saying his name, but let's say his name was Josh.
Shout out, Josh.
Shout out Josh. But what he did in that class that really I passed that class with an A/B average, which is a lot for me because I don't like school. But what he did in that class was make that class educational and fun at the same time. Like we were laughing and we were learning, and I was retaining that shit, right? And so that's kind of like what I want to bring into this podcast, where people can take away something that will make them think. You know, aside from just, you know, laughing and stuff, which that's where the entertaining part comes from, right? But I really do want people to leave this podcast slightly bit smarter and slightly bit better than they were yesterday, just like what I'm doing. That's my whole consensus about the podcast. As far as what I would like it to be, I don't have the clearest image over what I want it to be.
Okay.
But I just want to help people, man. I want to help people and have fun while helping
You want to create
people.
impact, yeah.
Yes.
So do we focus more on YouTube or Instagram?
I would say both, dude. I would say get content on both. Honestly, man.
Do we have any idea how to because I know how to focus on Instagram. How do we focus on YouTube?
On YouTube, shit, that's something that another thing. See, this is the micro within the macro, right? Because I personally don't know a lot of shit about YouTube. We did YouTube maybe 3 years ago, and we still didn't know shit. We actually built up a pretty good channel. I think we reached like 100 subscribers in like 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
So what's, in your opinion, in your mind, what's the difference between 100 subscribers and 100,000 subscribers? Like what creates that difference?
It's shit. I mean, I feel like it's being different, grinding, being able to produce a lot of content, and just standing out from the crowd in a sense. You know, I feel like we need to be different than because okay, let's say you watch Impulsive, right? What's his name? Logan.
Shout out Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, right? So you have Logan Paul who does his thing. He has a great podcast that you enjoy, and then somebody else comes along and tries to mimic and to recreate what Logan Paul is. Who are you going to watch? I'm talking about practically the same thing.
Practically the same thing. I'm probably going to watch Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. So why would you try to mimic somebody else? Don't do that. You need to have some sort of originality in a sense to catch people's eye.
So what's the originality in ignorance is bliss?
I personally think that as far as originality goes, I think there's a certain truth.
And I'm going to put this in there.
And where? In a clip?
No, I'm going to insert this into the conversation. I don't think there's a lot of difference between originality and innovation. So taking an idea and then making it better, or taking an idea and molding it to your niche audience. So
exactly. So that's what, and I got, and I mean, you kind of introduced me to this by introducing me to my boys going in. You introduced this to me by introducing Russell Brunson, right? He kind of shows you how to model, but yet tweak and make it different, right? So that's kind of like what I want to do with this podcast. I want to figure out how we can stand out just a tad bit.
Here's how I think we can stand out, because our podcast is. Hold on. Oh, that's weird. I just got a text.
The private investigator's back. Is it?
Bro, we call him Snowman.
Oh shit.
Private investigator has in fact confirmed that we're still the #1 podcast in Jacksonville, dude. So
nice.
To continue with my point, I think that our value is not so much in like being super different or super like It's just super different. I think our value is understanding our area right now where we're at, our social circle, our friends. And I think that, so my goal on the Sunday podcast is to provide a platform for our friends who are doing something worth talking about.
Yeah.
A platform to speak and to be heard.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and that's the other thing, and I think we said that Lily, not on we said that on our first podcast, but we also said that on the pre-introduction when we were going to launch it. We want a platform where we could fully express ourselves, right, and be honest and
share our
truthful.
perspective.
And that's why I said I said it briefly here. There's a certain truth. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I just mean, there's a certain honesty to, speaking on this podcast, where, we can express ourselves fully and freely, because that's what this country is all about, freedom of fucking speech. So,
yeah, I think that the most impactful thing that we can do is, so for example, like,
because people are buying into us, man.
Dude, yes, and they're buying into the people who are on this podcast. And one thing that I've been thinking recently is like, okay, so what is our goal with this podcast, dude? And I think that it can be summed down to the idea of just giving people who are not normally given a voice to share their perspective. So, for example, there's a lot of people in Jacksonville who are just normal people. They do their thing, and that's it. There are also people in Jacksonville who have, so I can think like. Hopefully, by the way, I'm excited. If there was a camera that was staring at me, I'd be looking at the camera right now, but you can't hear me. But like, there's a guest we're gonna have on our podcast very shortly. The date is to be announced. We know the date, but it's not gonna be released yet. Where this person has, female by the way, has 98,000 followers on Instagram, I believe. Has an OnlyFans page, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically.
You consider it porn.
It's basically, yeah, it's like subscribe porn. And I laugh and I snort at it, but like, I think what's cool about it is that person doesn't get a chance to share her perspective on like what that means for her. Because like, think about it. I've been a part of MLMs where people are like, yo, you're a part of a pyramid scheme. You know what I'm saying? But I created my own platform to share when in fact I thought about it, and I think that's so important because like so many different parts of like what people do in their life are misunderstood, right? I think it'd be like, I mean, think about it, bro. It'd actually be fucking fascinating to even have like a homeless person on the pod. I mean, not that we're gonna do this, but like a homeless person on the podcast. Like nobody really gets to hear a homeless person's perspective unless you sit down next to the homeless person. You got fucking an hour to spare because this guy's gonna go on because he's been waiting for someone to talk to for this whole time,
Right.
To really share his perspective. And I think that by giving that individual who I'm talking about an opportunity to share her perspective, because she's loved. I love her, bro. She's got a sexy body. Shout out that person. But like, not only is she attractive, but she has a completely different lifestyle and a completely different setup for her life than I think that most people have.
And so now that you say this, it really makes me think, right? Because I like when you speak, right? Because it makes me grind my gears, and I like people who do that.
Yeah, I appreciate
make me
that.
grind my gears.
Thank you.
I was thinking because in bringing it back just to the whole Russell Brunson thing, where he kind of takes and models and somewhat creates his own thing within it. This could be our own thing, and within that side circle or within that red ocean, we can still are able to bring in like famous people or like people who are or more known or who have already had their voice.
Sure.
Right. And I think that's interesting. And the reason why I say that is because I also still want to talk. Like I said, this is fucking fun, dude. It's fun picking people's brains, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna come over there real quick.
Yeah.
I got some shit to say. I gotta be on camera because this is gonna be chopping. No, stay there. I'm gonna bring the chair over here.
Are you sure, dog?
Oh, we're about to do some different shit on this podcast.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna be in the shot. I'm telling you.
So that's. Is that true?
You're in the shot now. I mean, if you're with the microphone, you're in the shot.
All right. So, putting my headset on. The only reason I'm doing this is for the Instagram clip. So there's one person watching right now.
That's fine.
And for you that's watching, I appreciate you.
It's Jesus, dog. Jesus said
I love you, Jesus, bro. So 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 what I would say, dude, is like, dude, what if I told you I forgot what I was gonna say, bro?
Oh my god, you just created all this hype. You better pull it back, motherfucker.
Bro, it's the Johnny Walker, dude. That's what it is. Okay. So on a real note, I think that by doing this podcast, like, dude, I think I might have forgot what I was gonna say. Dude, I think by doing this podcast, I think that we're gonna have an opportunity to get people who otherwise wouldn't be heard, because like people create their own platform all the time to communicate, but like, oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say, dude. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Come on, guy. Get that shit back.
All right.
Okay, so since he forgot, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. Okay, so what I was saying is I enjoy having conversations. Okay, I like picking people's brain and seeing, you know, how they operate, and so I think this is why. Back to your point, you know, we're gonna bring somebody in who we're gonna see a completely a different way of living, and probably a completely different different perspective. So I think that's neat, right? And so that's still the case, and I would still enjoy doing that with somebody who has already had a voice, because maybe we're asking questions that other people aren't asking, right?
Yes, exactly, dude. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. You need that's the other thing. We need to start asking questions that other people aren't asking, basic and non-basic.
Boom.
We need to go deep, balls deep, boy.
Yeah. No, I would say the same thing.
Come on, man.
I think that's gonna be the beauty of it, dude. I think. Because dude, bro, I'm gonna come back over there.
Did you remember it?
Bro, I'm coming back over there.
Here, just
We both need to be on camera, because I like seeing myself on camera. But the other thing is too is like exactly what Randy said, is just giving other people a perspective to speak. But like that's the thing, dude. I think that's legitimately actually the thing, is like asking questions that nobody else is asking. Because like, I mean, how many friends do you have? And they do one thing or another that you're wondering, what is it that you actually do? Like, what do you go through in life, right? And by like tapping into that, you get to see all different perspectives. Because I think a lot of controversial topics like aren't even really covered that much. You know what I'm saying? So like, think about it like this, right? If you have a friend with a premium Snapchat, but you're really good with that person, like, what do they go through? Like, what are they thinking? Like, why, how can they justify and rationalize that? If you have a friend who's, you know, like works at McDonald's, right? Like, what questions haven't they been asked before, and what voice have they not been given? And just considering those things, and like, I'm putting them together, bro.
What do they want to? What do they want to say that they've been holding on to? Mm-hmm. You know, because a lot of people hold on to a lot of shit, man. I don't. And, you know, that can be, I think that can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because I kind of sometimes just splurt and just say the first thing that comes to mind. And, you know, that can be a bad thing, right? Because sometimes the first thought isn't always the best thought, right? Could you possibly somewhat agree with that?
Yeah, no, that's totally valid.
Right? But I think it's interesting that, you know, people hold on to some shit. And maybe we get to dig it out of them.
Dude, yeah, 100... But like you're like grinning and like smiling a little bit.
What? No, that's serious.
But yeah, exactly. But actually though, like our guests on Sunday are for sure guests. We have three guests really on Sunday, but one's for sure locked in. The other one we might have to reschedule a little bit. But this person I went to high school with and has had a certain level of success that you haven't experienced, that I obviously haven't experienced. And that has to do with specifically music, and it's just been a theme right now, just because that's where we're at. But like,
we love our musicians, man. Shit.
I mean, for real, dude. Like, especially if you're like especially if like, I mean, how many people want to be a rapper or a rock star?
It's hard.
Yeah, and do it, but don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like how many people have a podcast and do it, but don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's exactly it, dude. By asking questions nobody's asked before, giving people a chance. I think people really genuinely want to be vulnerable, and because they don't have a platform to do that effectively on, their whole perspective is literally like, it's not even put out there. Am I right?
Yeah, no, 100%. A lot of people just kind of sometimes are afraid to speak.
Dude, I think that's going to be the differentiator between I mean, to be honest, like, we are the number one podcast in Jacksonville. I mean, that's facts. But like, now that we are the number one podcast in Jacksonville, we kind of have to figure out why we are the number one podcast in Jacksonville.
Well, let me tell you why. Because we fucking decided to be.
Yes, and also because nobody's tapped into that concept of asking different questions, asking the questions that most people wouldn't actually be comfortable with, and really like having the balls to go there.
And so,
because people want that, dude.
yes,
Like girls, like, dude. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You're on a roll, big dog.
Go ahead.
I'm retaining the stop because it's something that's going to be very important. Go.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was ready for you. I'm ready for you for
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
bro,
I mean,
stick
my my only thing is, how to reaching a comfortability point, right? Because some people are just not willing to spill the shits, right? Just because they're so tied to not spilling the shit. So
Yeah.
That's also, that's something.
And when given the chance, dude, if somebody asks you, like if I said right now, dude, what's the one thing that's been preventing you from like going to sleep at night, dude? Because like, bro, like I can look you dead in the eye right now and be like, there's something that keeps you up a couple 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours.
It's my phone.
It's my bro, it's our podcast blowing up and people just like hitting us up, bro. That's facts. Actually, people are actually hitting us up. That's pretty cool to see. Yeah, but like there's a thing that people, I feel like, want to express that we're doing. I see it as like a duty and a service, bro. I see it literally as a duty and a service to show up on Sunday, be on time for the most part. Like, I don't even know what on time is.
Just be there, dog.
Yeah,
Honestly,
just be there, bro.
there.
Like, you could just show up. Success is there, right? But like doing that because like I feel like I owe it to the people who need to be heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all need a voice. And I feel like this is why podcasting itself is such a great tool. And Joe Rogan enforces this a lot because he's probably, if not the biggest podcaster out right now, as far as a podcaster goes. And he himself encourages a bunch of people to start a podcast, whether, it's somewhat semi-professional with the microphones and, and the lights and the fucking cameras and this and that, or grabbing your fucking phone and sitting there and talking, right? And I think there's a certain thing about taking the initiative to just start, because some people may not be in a position to buy all this shit that we bought, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that podcast is just a great platform that if you really know yourself and believe in yourself, you can kill it in a podcast. I think so. I think that everybody literally has the potential to do this shit. It's just a matter of doing. And this is what you said. Just do.
Do we have any other topics we want to cover? We're going to wrap it.
Shit, I can sit here and talk all night, brother, but I don't have all night. I got to go sell, actually.
Bring it full circle, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe. No, but I know probably nobody's tuning in right now, which no problem. I know you guys will be tuning in on Instagram.
Yeah.
However, we do thank all the support. From the bottom of our hearts. I know you have been getting texts and you put them up on that, and that truly warmed my heart. Right, I felt great. So to anybody that's been entertained and or has taken some value from this and has tuned in, thank you for tuning in to Ignorance is Bliss. We will be providing more great content, as great as we can possibly make it. Is that right, Joey? Are you making a commitment to that?
That's my personal investigator just texted me. He said that's facts.
That's big facts. Okay. But other than that, guys, thank you for tuning in. For those who will be tuning in, thank you for doing that. Make sure to follow Joey Valentino. Make sure to follow me. Make sure to follow Ignorance is Bliss Live on Instagram. Make sure to like, subscribe, and please turn the notifications on so you'll know when we go live. Other than that, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been Ignorance is Bliss Live. Have a good night.
I fucking love all you guys, bro. Let's go. Number one podcast in Jacksonville. We're signing out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Lots more great content coming in. Wait till you see the guests we got lined up. I love you guys so much. We'll talk soon. Peace.
And the stream buggle.
All right.
I'm gonna awkwardly sit here real quick.
Oh, fuck. I see it. All right.